Watch football. Live it with us. Catch us on the Locker Room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, please just go.
And it's Hakim Ziyech who puts the Atlas.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People television.
Hello and welcome to the Media News and Voice of the People television. I am Fina Okechukwu.
And I am David Edwin.
The headlines. Ajaero, Sowore, others gather for protest.
NHRC reports 422,942 abductions, sexual violence in November.
Northern elders warn of rising bandit attacks in Zamfara.
Marketers urge Tinubu to intervene in NMDPRA Dangote face-off.
House of Representatives probes NAF crew detention in Burkina Faso.
Nigerian Bar Association opposes tinted glass enforcement, warns of extortion.
In business, Nigeria's crude oil export hits 37.7 trillion naira in 9 months.
In sports, Super Eagles squad rises to 26 with Samuel Chukwueze.
In entertainment, a very dirty December premieres in Lagos. Now, the news and details. Members of the Nigerian Labour Congress are gathering at the NLC Secretariat in Abuja ahead of a nationwide protest against rising insecurity. Present at the venue are NLC President Ajaero and civil society allies, including Omoyele Sowore of the Revolution Now movement. Security personnel, including the police, civil defense, and the Department of State Services, have also been deployed to the area. Ajaero said the protest remains sacrosanct, citing the impact of insecurity on the economy and investor confidence. They say the demonstration is aimed at drawing government's attention to insecurity, banditry, and worsening economic hardship across the country.
Meanwhile, the National Human Rights Commission says human rights abuses in Nigeria worsened in November 2025, with over 422,942 complaints reported nationwide. Presenting the November Human Rights Situation Dashboard in Abuja, NHRC Executive Secretary Tony Ojukwu described the figures as crying for help, warning that insecurity, impunity, and shrinking civil space threatens the country's future. The Commission recorded more than 800 abductions in November alone, the highest since the Chibok schoolgirls' kidnapping. Victims included farmers seized from their fields, travelers on highways, students from schools, and worshippers during prayers. Ojukwu highlighted the abduction of school children in Maga and Papiri communities in Kebbi and Niger states, calling attacks on education an assault on Nigeria's future. He also reported cases of child trafficking, gang rapes, and sexual abuse of minors, stressing that these crimes leave lifelong scars on both victims and society.
Elsewhere, the Northern Elders Support Group has accused Zamfara State Governor Daud Al-Wal of neglecting the worsening security situation amid persistent bandit attacks. In a statement, acting chairman Yusuf Abubakar said rising violence is displacing communities and disrupting economic activities across the state. The elders allege the governor is more focused on political disputes than on restoring peace, urging him to prioritize security in affected areas. They also criticized frequent public disagreements between the governor and federal authorities, including President Tinubu and Defense Minister Bello Matawale, warning that such conflict could undermine coordinated security operations.
In another development, some oil and gas marketers have called on President Bola Tinubu to urgently intervene in the ongoing disputes in the downstream petroleum sector to prevent further fallout, particularly internationally. The call follows the public disagreements between the chief executive of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, and the president of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote. Speaking to journalists, the national president of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Maigandi Garima, urged the federal government to step in, warning that the dispute could erode a growing investor confidence in the sector. He called for dialogue between the parties to resolve the matter. The Petroleum Product Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria also condemned the situation. Its national president, Billy Gillis Harry, said the disputes could discourage foreign investment and weaken confidence in Nigeria's regulatory institutions.
The Green Chamber, the House of Representatives, launched a probe into the detention of 11 Nigerian Air Force personnel and the C-130 aircraft by Burkina Faso authorities. Committees have been tasked to engage security and diplomatic agencies to secure their release. The probe follows a motion of urgent national importance moved by retired Air Vice Marshal Rufus Ojuawo. Burkina Faso's military government claimed the Nigerian aircraft violated its airspace, according to the Agenda de Information do Burkina, citing the Confederation of Sahel States. Ojuawo maintained the flight was properly documented and conducted according to international aviation standard, with the landing done solely for safety reasons. He dismissed suggestion of an intelligence or surveillance mission, noting there was no evidence of airspace violation or forced landing. Also speaking, Donald Ojogo called the situation a delicate diplomatic challenge and urged the professionalization of Nigeria's foreign service to better handle complex international matters, especially in Burkina Faso.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Bar Association has criticized the Nigerian police force over the resumption of tinted glass enforcement calling it unlawful, oppressive, and an attempt to make life difficult for Nigerians. Speaking in Abuja, NBA President Afa Mosigwe said the police lacked legal authority, noting that a federal high court in Warri had ordered all parties to maintain the status quo until the case is determined. The NBA added that following public outcry, the police agreed at a meeting with the association to suspend enforcement until the court delivers its judgment.
Moving on, President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Afa Mosigwe, has expressed the condolences of Nigerian lawyers on the passing of former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Ibrahim Muhammad. Mosigwe described the late CJN as a fine jurist whose laws will be deeply felt by the Nigerian judiciary. The NBA conveyed its condolences in a statement made available to newsmen in Lagos.
Mixed reactions have, in the meantime, continued to trail the Supreme Court's recent verdict following the president to declare a state of emergency in any federating unit and suspend elected public officers. Voice of the People TV spoke with Lagos residents to get their views on the Apex Court's decision.
Majority decision has upheld the presidential constitution authority to declare a state of emergency and take extraordinary measures to restore order, including temporarily suspending elected officials. The ruling follows a suit filed by the Attorney General of 11 PDP-governed states, challenging the emergency declared in Rivers State by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. While the court struck out the suit of lack of jurisdiction, Justice Obande Ogundiya dissented, arguing that presidential emergency power should not include suspending elected state officials.
Yes, if the court supports it, then the president have the right. So I don't think anybody can come and, because the president, of course, has been doing well in the country. Everybody knows so well. So right now, I don't think if the court says the president have the right to go ahead with such, so nobody should be able to contradict that.
It's unfortunate that we are living in a country that the executive arm of government has taken over the other two arms, the judiciary and the legislature. It's quite unfortunate. That pronouncement had sparked a lot of anger in the minds of so many Nigerians. To us, the common people, is not right. The executive, the president has no right to declare a state of emergency anyhow and remove a sitting governor. He can declare a state of emergency, but he has no right to remove the sitting governor.
If the Supreme Court can say so, Supreme Court, like I know, is the highest court of the Federation. And as such, I have no objection to that because I'm not a legal practitioner. If you ask me about the banking, I will do better. But as it is now, I have nothing to say other than to support that which the Supreme Court, which is the highest court, have said. But if the governor have any other thing outside that, he can go to the Court of Appeal.
We know APC is all about the reaper. Everybody has been moving to APC right now. So it's a one system party that Nigeria is supporting now. So the president can go ahead and do whatever he chooses.
This government has been doing things that are unconstitutional. So ever since they came to power in 2015, APC, all their policies have been anti-people, especially this Tinubu's government.
We know, everybody know, and it's so clear, so obvious that sometimes when it comes to issue of what I call politics in Nigeria, you see that everything always go in favor of the person, the sitting president.
The Supreme Court has sparked widespread discussion, raising questions about the balance of power between the federal government and the state government, and what citizens expected from the elected leaders during emergencies. I'm Oyindamola Olukuto, reporting for Voice of the People TV.
Similarly, some residents in Awka, the capital of Anambra State, shared their views with our correspondent in Awka, Sochima Promise.
Mr. Isaac Gadaba, emergency rule is for the good of the people when crisis and confusion becomes the order of the day. According to him, the president has the right to declare a state of emergency in any state or any part of the country to restore normalcy, though cautioning that it should not be too often or become a tool against opposition political camps.
State of emergency is supposed to be for the good of the people. So the president has the right to declare a state of emergency on any state, hence as the number one citizen of the nation. And the state of emergency, if it's for the good of the people, it's right for him to declare state of emergency on any state in Nigeria. And if they are creating it, let it be for the good of the people. Let it not be that they are keeping the people in bondage in order to achieve the negative purpose, but let it be for the good of the people.
Mr. Anthony Udo feels the stand of the Supreme Court portends danger for democracy as the governor or any other elected officer that may be suspended or completely sacked by the emergency rule is also elected by the people. Mr. Udo reasons that such upholding of the president's power to remove democratically elected officers could result in undue interference into state matters in a multi-party democracy like ours.
It's not actually that right, because the governor is also elected by the people, and also the president is elected by the people. So it's for the president to be interfering into state matters. It doesn't seem that right, basically, and especially right now that one ruling party is majorly ruling the whole state. They'll be biased towards it compared to other lesser parties like the PDP or the Labour Party. So yeah, they might be impartial in it. That's really the bad side about it.
Another respondent, Joshua, said he sees nothing extraordinary in declaration of emergency by the nation's number one citizen.
According to the Constitution, there's nothing wrong about declaring state of emergency because it's part of the Constitution, and every Constitution is meant to be followed. It's just when you are declaring the state of emergency, there are many things you need to put into consideration because the law was made for the people. It's not the people being made for the law. But the most important thing is it must not affect the people extremely.
I'm Sochima Promise, reporting for Voice of the People Television.
Thank you so much, Sochima, for that wonderful coverage. We sincerely appreciate it. And you're watching the Media News and Voice of the People Television. It's time for the Media News analysis. And with us in the studio is Barrister Darlington Agomo, a political and public affairs commentator, and we'll be joined virtually by Ismail Ladare, a member Take It Back movement. Good afternoon, Barrister Darlington Agomo.
Yep.
Good to have you join today's Media News.
Yeah, Fina and David, how are you?
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ismail Aladare. Good to have you join today's Media News too. Let's establish communications with you.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for having me today.
Glad to have you join us in today's Media News. Barrister, without wasting much time, I'd like to start off with you. And, that is about the back and forth between the NBA and also the Nigerian police about the tinted glass. Because we learned that a federal high court in Warri gave an interim injunction suspending the implementation of the tinted glass policy. But now the Nigerian police was come up to say that the 2nd day of January 2026, they will begin enforcement of the tinted glass, permit policy. And here the NBA, they are of the opinion that this is a way to extort Nigerians and also maybe wrecking money and all that. What do you have to say about this? The court issued an interim injunction. And the Nigerian police, were saying, no, we have to go on with this. And one of the reasons they gave was the fact they say they want to help curb the issue of insecurity, which they believe the tinted glass sometimes will aid people who perpetrate evil to carry out their activities.
I am disappointed that the police don't obey court order. Seriously. I am really disappointed. There is an injunction. Have you vacated it? The answer is no. Have the matter been ruled upon? The answer is no. So why do you want to go ahead on the tinted glasses when there is no overriding need for it? These are mostly privately owned cars. Privately owned cars. When terrorists want to operate, is it not buses that they use to take away people? And then maybe motorbikes, when they go to some school, do they hide themselves under a tinted glass?
Barrister, under what law do the Nigerian police have to override a sitting court order to carry out this kind of act?
There is no power, nothing authorized them to do that.
So you think they are acting unlawful and also finding a way to oppress Nigerians?
Of course. It's all about making money because the police is not a revenue generating agency of government. The only place I can say maybe they generate money is with this VIP escorts, where the VIP will pay them money for whatever.
So, Nabarisa, what does this portend? Because in the words of Afamo Sigwe, who is the chairman of the NBA, he was saying that there was even a meeting in which the Nigerian police agreed in that meeting to suspend enforcement onto the court, delivers its judgment. But now, it's more like they are flouting whatever thing they must have agreed upon and going on with the issuance of that, a restriction of people moving around with tinted glass without permit.
It's like our Nigerian police, they have been getting away with so much impunity and arrogance. And that is why the people feel docile. The people feel conquered. The people are helpless.
Even the judiciary are now conquered too. Is that what that means? Because if the common man on the street who believes that, when things are chips are down, they will go straight to the judiciary and seek for their voice to be heard, are not... If let's take them out of this and look at what is playing out. MBA, one breath are the ones talking. So what then will be the fate of other Nigerians if the Nigerian Bar Association cannot, come up with something, or a court cannot give an interim injunction and the Nigerian police will keep to it?
You see, when the MBA is talking, yes, it is their responsibility to make sure that laws are not violated. It is their responsibility to make sure that the sanity returns to our courts.
Right.
And it is their responsibility to checkmate the police, because most of them don't even know what the law says. And so what they are doing is right before the law. Now that police have gone or is going ahead to violate an injunction by a court, they should wait for suit. I expect them to go to court against the Nigerian police.
All right, then.
Because they didn't tell us why they should flag this court order.
Interesting. Well, let's go to our virtual guest, Mr. Ismail Oladare. Once again, good afternoon to you, and thank you for being on the analysis segment of the Media News.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
All right, let's get your opinion on this same particular conversation about the NBA clearly telling the Nigerian police that this is an unwanted act, and most importantly, a very wrong act. What's your position with this? And then what do you think would be the direct cost to motorists should the Nigerian police start the enforcement of this tinted glass situation come January the 2nd?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I see. Number one, if there is anybody who actually detests the police as an institution, it's somebody like me, because of the numerous injustice I have faced from these people. But then I quite disagree with Barrister Darlington, and this is why. Number one, I think that the permission for that tinted glass is actually needed, based off the fact that, we can argue on this all we want, but we understand the volatility of crime in our country today. And we cannot disagree with the fact that unscrupulous elements uses this tinted glass to perpetrate their evil. Number two, I also don't think that the police has violated any court injunction. If anything, the court injunction did not expressly state it that the police should stop. What the injunction stated that both parties should maintain status quo. So we cannot start arguing that what is the status quo for the people, the police, and the court, right? So the police can argue that their own status quo was that it was not that they were mandated for, but then they still issue permits.
Sorry, I'd like to butt in here. Sorry. Maybe you continue after I say this. that injunction from the courts clearly states that all parties are to maintain status quo until the case is determined.
Determination of the case. Yes.
So as it stands, the case has not been determined, meaning that every single party should hold on to whatever decision that they are planning to have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the court is saying that both parties should maintain status quo. So it is not expressly banning the police from issuing the permits. So we can now start arguing what is the status quo. That is why I said I did not totally agree that the police has violated an injunction when the injunction did not expressly state that the police should stop, right? And that's, by the way, the major point I was making is also the fact that this is needed. The NBA can argue against it, but it is needed. If you feel like you need a tinted glass for your car, seek permission and you get it.
Are you saying that we're turning the Nigerian police force into a revenue generation at this point is also needed? Recall that, when this station or the situation about the permit came out, a certain amount of money running into billions is what the Nigerian police force is meant to reckon on this. And if you say we need this, I'm talking about the permit, is it the Nigerian police force that should have, access or license to, penalize people who default? Or are we looking at Federal Road Safety Commission or the Civil Defense or any other agency? Who do you think should bear the larger chunk of the burden on making sure that the permit and its policy has been implemented?
Yeah, but by the virtue of what their job role and responsibility is, it should be the FRSC. But then the problem generally is the fact that nobody actually trusts any of these agencies anymore to hold any fund or any revenue in trust for the people. So that's another argument entirely. But do we need this? Yes, we need it. Do people trust the police or the FRSC or any other agency whatsoever to do it in a transparent manner and a manner that everybody will be okay with? No, nobody trusts any one of them, right? So the arguments now can also now be that any agency that will now be entrusted with collecting this revenue, whether it's the police, whether it's the FRSC, should make it digital. Like we always been saying, everything should be digitalized so that no agency personnel will now come to you to be doing, registering you personally and be collecting cash or something like that. So it should just be digital, just so that it will be transparent to everybody to see.
Thank you so very much. Let's take this conversation back to the studio, Barrister. The fact that this clearly is looking more like the police is going to turn to a revenue generating agency of the government, because questions are being asked about the fact that who then will be in charge of the total mobility of gathering of funds should anybody fault. There will be fines, there will be settlements and all of that. What's your position with the fact that these arguments will still get to court? And then, of course, like Oladare did say, there would be some level of argument between the Nigerian police and the NBA on the court's substantive order.
Now, when a court places an injunction,
yes,
it means stop. Did you hear me? Injunction means stop. That is the status quo. That place you are, stay there until this case is over. That is the simple meaning to a layman.
Okay.
If there was no need for the court to place injunction, they wouldn't have gone through that route. They said stop until this case is determined by the court. The next thing I expected the police to do is to go and vacate that injunction, but they did not. They did not. And so, on what ground are they now going ahead? Have the court leave for them to continue? The police have violated a court order. It's as simple as that.
So what's the way forward now?
Yes,
this violation of the court
for
order?
the NBA, all the lawyers that are involved in this matter, they should go back. Anyway, let them implement it. Let them start implementing it first.
You have a date already. I had to wait. January the 2nd is the date.
Hold on. Let it happen first so that we deal with evidence here. So that the litigants or the complainant will have evidence to show the court that, look, these police have gone ahead to violate your injunction.
All right, Barrister, when you say we should hold on to the date, it's okay. Let's see how it turns out.
Yes.
This is already the 17th day in the month of December. 2nd of January is close by.
Yes, if you go now, they will tell you.
No one has ever violated it, so let's wait.
And you don't have anything to tell the court.
Okay, let's move away from that to another shocking revelation made by Human Rights, the National Human Rights Commission in Nigeria, telling Nigerians and making it known to the world too that November 2025 was the month that has the highest recorded number of complaints. 422,942 complaints was what they received nationwide. If not for kidnapping, it'd be for violence, sexual violence, and every other thing, harassment. And in November alone, over 800 people were abducted. Barrister Darlington, what does this portend with the fight against insecurity in Nigeria and so many other revelations that have been made available? For example, we're getting the back and forth of the story playing out in Kwara State. The arrested people that we saw, although something have come up to say that they are foreign Mieti Allah group members, they had AK-47 with them. Even a certain sergeant, tied to the NSA, they wanted to abscond with the rifle, even when they were part of the Joint Task Force Broker and Peace in Kwara State. And also the statement made by a non-state actor, Torjo Bello, about who should go in for the incessant kidnapping and happenings in Zamfara State. Bello Matawale should be out of it, but the former governor of Sokoto and former governor of Zamfara should go in, should be arrested. And help us walk around this, please. What does this really portend?
It means that the insecurity is growing by the day. It means that the government is not doing anything to stop this menace. It means that the Nigerian people are still living in fear. And it means that the discussion with America, I don't think is yielding any fruit. This is why I have always believed that these people should be visited with serious and brutal violence. That's the only thing they know. All this meeting and panel discussion and miseries, I don't think they are interested in all these things. By the time you come out strong and pound their locations, they will be in disarray. They won't have the capacity to kidnap anybody. This is my own idea of the whole thing. As for the thing growing, it is growing. Let us not deceive ourselves. It is growing by leaps and bounds. Because somebody like Toju Bello by now should have been in jail if Nigerian government is serious. I don't see why a terrorist, a wanted terrorist should still be talking with government. Talking with government, telling them what is and what is not. Telling them who to prosecute and who not to prosecute. Telling them what to do and what not to do. I mean, it's so sad.
In other words, Barrister, are you saying that the promises and, of course, the statement by the presidency, particularly on insecurity, clearly is becoming rhetorical commitments?
It's the way to divert your attention. It's the way to appease you, to placate you, for you to believe that they are doing something. Meanwhile, nothing is being done. Nothing is being done. That's why this thing is escalating. If they are making progress, the thing would have been dying down now. There won't be this type of embarrassing report by human rights organization. And so, in fact, I want to see how government will defend it, because these people, they have their data.
Barrister, are you saying that, because I could recall in one of the interviews we had here some time ago, the likes of Sheikh Ahmed Gomi was of the opinion that the further inclusion of Nigeria or redesignation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern is what is fueling the issue of insecurity the more. They say that it's either going to increase it, and we saw that playing out now. So are we saying that those people who have decided to cause pain to Nigerians are leveraging on such statement made by the U.S. government to carry out more attacks and all that? Is that a statement that they're sending to the U.S. or what?
if we are living in normal times, if we are living in a country that cherishes its integrity, the mere fact that a foreign power have come into this matter, it should be enough to scare these people. But because they have their backing by the government or government officials, state actors, that is why they feel that nothing will happen.
Okay.
Ordinarily, they should have been scared by now.
Interesting.
Yes, but they are not. With what Gumi and his, so the guys feel that nothing will happen. Our people are there in government. Right. So you can see the reason.
Okay. All right, then. Well, let's take this conversation to Ismail Ladari, still with us. Well, I'd like to find out from you, what do you make of this story that is quite painful, because that is what it is for some who've lost lives and property across the Northeast and even across Nigeria. Over 400,000 complaints just in November alone. What's your position with these level of insecurity bedeviling us as a country?
Yeah, I think so much that, this will not stop anytime soon. And it's not a prophecy of doom. It's speaking to reality of what we are facing as a people. And you see that when it even comes to, the sexual violence part of it, that one is almost underreported. Like, the figure we are seeing is not even up to 50% of what is happening in the streets. Being one of those people who always fight against sexual violence and domestic violence out there, I know of how many cases we handle on a weekly basis, right? So I can say for a fact that the figures we have out there is not a total representation of the amount of violence that is happening in our society. So it is underreported. And there is also cases of people who don't even come out at all to report sexual-based violence. They don't even come out because of the society stigma and victim blaming that happens after.
So what's your position? What's your position with government? What's your position with government and the measures that have been put in place to curbing this level of violence and insecurity in the country?
The fact is, there is no measure being put in place, honestly, because if there are measures put in place, the numbers ought to be reducing, right? But as the months and years go by, these numbers keep on increasing. So how could we say that there have been measures put in place? No measures is being put in place, and it's pointing to the fact that the lives of the people is of no value or of no significant importance to the people that are supposed to secure these lives.
So are you saying that the Joint Task Force team, which was put together by the NSA, because that was what we were told about the people that were arrested in some way in our Ajaero state, or linking it to Ife local government of Kwara State, sometime last or early this week. Are you saying that those people and the measures put in by NSA is not eating any fruit? Because we saw them, foreign Mieti Allah group members being given AK-47. And they also have some police sergeant with them, vehicle made available, provided for them by the government for them to help tackle the issue of insecurity.
Yeah, or ultimately, it's not yielding any result. And, when you talk about data, the only reason or the only avenue where you can, use the data to make informed decision is when the data is corroborating with the reality on ground. But what we are saying is that they are telling us stories, they are putting out statements, they are sending to media houses what they are doing and what they are not doing, and everything, all of that. They are putting teams together. But what is the relation of that thing they are putting together with what is happening on ground?
Okay.
There is no correlation whatsoever. The more team they are putting together, the less security available to the people.
All right.
So it's not yielding any results. That's what we are saying. And
Thank you.
it's only mean that is it that they are not doing it the right way, or all these things they are showing us is just a camouflage.
Thank you very much, Oladare Ismail, for that. And Barrister Darlington, what do you have to say about the back and forth playing out in Zamfara State? Recall that the governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, who was the former governor when Matawale Bello was the governor, deputy governor, beg your pardon, when Matawale Bello was the governor, was of the opinion that he's not going to bargain or negotiate with any bandit or any terror group in that state. And today, we saw a Northern Elder Support Group accusing him of neglecting the worsening security situation in the state and, the persistent bandit attack in Zamfara, but rather having more like, will I say, face-off or a confrontation with the federal government and the state or Minister for State for Defense, Bello Matawale, over the non-kinetic measure or approach on how bandits should be operated in the state.
The federal government is protecting that man. If not, with this weighty allegation, he should have been relieved of his job and then prosecuted in court. But they are not doing so.
Who exactly is the federal government protecting? Is it the...
Matawale.
Then what do we have to say about the NSA? Because we learned that the people that were caught, though Kwara State government said they ran away, they absconded with the vehicle and even the AK-47, bought by with taxpayers' money by NSA or ONSA at this point. Who is protecting him?
Let's start from the beginning.
All right.
Let us start from Matawale. Because when you take care of the penny, the pounds will take care of itself. It is when the probe is now widened, maybe in the course of all this, NSA will not come in. But my worry here is that nothing will come out of all these allegations. Because nothing has ever come out from any of their probe. Nothing. Seriously. From the one that Dangote is talking about somebody paying 5 million naira, nothing will come out of it. If I know this government very well, they like protecting their own. Anybody in their good book, no matter what you have done, you will never see go into the court.
All right, Barrister, from what you just said now, what is the implication of this protection, like you just alluded to?
It means that
on the international stage.
Good. It means that we are going to receive more odium, more insult, more embarrassment. It means that more state actors will join the fray to commit more mayhem because they are in the good book of government. It means that government itself is losing respect and credibility, even at home and abroad. That's what it means.
We're hoping that it wouldn't get to this level. Really, we're just hoping.
The law, it don't pass them. Say we do not get to. When U.S. is now beaming their satellite, they know who is doing what.
All right then. Well, Mr. Ishmael Oladare, what's your position with this situation in Zamfara State? You would recall that just Friday, the former aide to the Minister of State for Defense, I'm talking about Matawale now, did unveil so much weighty allegations, even with documents. And then the said man, I'm talking about the Minister of State for Defense, is still in office. What's the position with this?
I feel like, it's just so interesting that, every week, every month, we go over these analysis of insecurity and, but the pointer or what we always point to is the fact that these people are not serious. I'm talking about the people in government, our leaders, from the president to the ministers to the legislatures. They are not serious. Because when you have someone like Matawale with all the grousing allegations against him over the years, you still make him the minister. Why still the minister? And nothing has also changed from what has always been the status quo from the past. And, nothing drastic, no drastic measure have been taken by the so-called president. It's point to the fact that these people are not serious about tackling insecurity in this country. Let's be factual. Let's be serious. Let's tell ourselves the truth for once, right? These people is someone like Matawale with all the grounding allegations against him should be cooling off in one jail in Borno or somewhere there, right? But then, when you have a government that, their first priority is their class, they don't care in the first instance about the people.
All right.
This is what happens. And this is why we always tell our people, right? We can pontificate, we can analyze these people from now till next year. But the major problem and the solution is the fact that they don't care about you.
Interesting point.
You must now care so much about yourself to now organize within yourself and oust them out of power. So whether it's Matawali or Tinubu, chase everybody away.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much, Ismail Oladare. We are pressed for time. I would have loved us to talk about the NLC protest and people who have already converged for that protest, but we don't really have time for that again. Thank you so much, Ismail Oladare. Remember, Take It Back Movement, for being part of today's Midday News analysis. Thank you also, Barrister Darlington Agomo, Public and Political Affairs Analyst, for being here with us in the studio. We sincerely appreciate your presence, gentlemen.
Yeah.
You're watching the Midday News and Voice of the People television. We'll go on a quick break. When we'll come back, the rest of the Midday News continues. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's still the Media News and Voice of the People television. A coalition of the prominent opposition leaders, including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and former presidential candidate Peter Obi, has accused the federal government of using anti-corruption agencies to intimidate political opponents. Amid the allegations, many citizens are calling for stronger democratic practices and strict adherence to the rule of law to prevent Nigeria from sliding into a one-party system. Voice of the People's Television's Matthew Ogunsuwada has more in this report.
Anti-corruption agencies to intimidate and persecute opposition figures, warning that the trend threatens Nigeria's multi-party democracy. In a joint statement, the leaders alleged that President Bola Tinubu's administration is weaponizing institutions such as the EFCC, the Nigerian police, the ICPC to harass political opponents under the guise of fighting corruption. The statement was signed by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Senate President David Mark, Labour Party's presidential candidate Peter Obi, and other senior political figures, warning that Nigeria is drifting towards a de facto one-party state through coercion rather than electoral competition. Responding, the president's spokesman, Bayo Ononuga, dismissed the allegation, saying the constitution guarantees freedom of association and the right of Nigerians to change political parties. He insisted that the president is not turning the country into a one-party state. As the debate continues, Voice of the People TV got the opinion of Nigerians on this significant development.
Children are dropping out from the school. To eat 2 times a day is difficult. How do you want people to continue with APC? APC promised us everything that they are going to do more than PDP. When PDP was there, I think a bag of rice is 7.5. Compare what is happening today. The cost of living, people find difficult to eat. Cost of living every day is going up, is going higher. A graduate cannot secure a job. Nigerians are tired. But what we are seeing, believe it, they think everybody is rich. They don't even think for the poor, for the masses. Very painful, honestly. I'm a graduate, but I cannot secure a job.
It's just like a military rule. That is a dictatorship. So whatever they do is final. Nobody to accuse them. If you accuse them in a wrong way, they can do and undo for you. So that is the disadvantages of a one-party system.
As for me, I would just all parties should just be in accord to strategize, restructure, to do something. And I believe if this party can be in accord, no misunderstanding. Everybody are, bringing different ideas and, putting in the ideas, working out. There will not be problem, there will not be issues.
As we've heard from citizens, opinions remain divided. As political tension grows, many say the government must strengthen democratic institutions and uphold the rule of law rather than turning the country into a one-party state. Matthew Okunswada, reporting for Voice of the People Television.
And thank you so very much, Matthew, for that report. We'll go straight to some business stories. Nigeria's crude oil exports rose to 37.7 trillion naira in the first 9 months of the year, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. The figures contained in the NBS Quarter 3 2025 foreign trade in goods statistics covered January to September and reflected relatively stable export performance despite global market volatility. Quarterly data show crude oil exports receipts remained steady throughout the period with no major fluctuations. The NBS said Nigeria's crude oil earnings have continued to rise over the past 5 years, driven by price, exchange rate, and export volumes.
Moving on to some sports story, the Super Eagles camp for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco has risen to 26 players following the arrival of winger Samuel Chukwueze. The camp opened on Sunday at the Renaissance Hotel in Cairo, Egypt, as final preparation for the tournament began.
And from that particular sports story, we'll go straight to entertainment. In the exciting world of entertainment, Nollywood stars and movie lovers gathered in Lekki, Lagos State for the premiere of a Dirty December. Voice of the People TV's Oyedamola Lokuta reports from the event.
A coalition of prominent opposition leaders.
Why is this guy running like this?
And the realities that often comes with the holiday explores family, choices, and the realities that often comes with the holiday season. Guests describe their expectation for the movie and their Dirty December thoughts.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
Who styled you?
I styled myself.
Oh, wow. Are you a stylist?
Kind of.
Oh, it's obvious. Your aesthetic is actually very nice.
Thank you so much.
So when you hear the word a very Dirty December, what comes to your mind?
It's all about good time, networking, and then enjoyment.
Okay, speaking about the enjoyment, I'm sure you're here tonight to enjoy yourself.
Very, very
and not
much.
just to enjoy yourself, also to support the actress. But knowing the fact that Iniedo so far and the years before now, she has placed herself at a peak when it comes to acting and producing. So what do you think this movie is going to be like tonight?
Is more like a sister to me, because when you've known somebody for over 2 decades, and I know that she doesn't do things that are not top notch. So we have actually watched the previous movies that she did, which actually was #1 on Netflix, and I'm expecting to see the best now, because whether you like it or not, the more you do, the more you improve. So we're expecting the best for the Dirty December movie.
So looking at the fact that it's a very dirty Christmas, what comes to your mind?
Well, it depends on how you define dirty, but for someone like me, I always look at it from the positive aspect, from a religious perspective, and then of course it's a time to, share with loved ones, and then to give, to those that are unable to, provide for themselves. So.
Okay, knowing it, Iniedo producing this very dirty Christmas, what's your expectation for it?
Oh, there's no expectation, meaning like she has a high standard, and she has never gone below that standard. She keeps elevating, as you can see, for so many years. So yeah, so I don't expect nothing but the best.
Well, before the trailer, when I say Very Dirty Christmas, I was expecting everything about the dirty Nigeria, very dirty December, very dirty thing. But when I watched the trailer, I was like, whoa, there's actually more to this. Not just, we have action, we have the comic relief, it's educating, it's like a family film. I don't even know what to expect. Please bring it on. And should we talk about the fashion sense, the costuming, the cars?
I think I'm expecting a lot of humor. Some very, very interesting, probably embarrassing moments. But I think overall, Christmas is always about feel-good movies. It's about fun. It's about family. So I think that the movie is going to have a lot of that. And I can't wait to see what it's about.
With excitement building ahead of its nationwide release, A Very Dirty Christmas is set to bring a fresh, bold twist in Nollywood holiday movie lineups. I'm Oyindamola Olukuto for Voice of the People TV.
And that is it on the Media News and Voice of the People television. I do want to subscribe to our YouTube channel on YouTube. We are Voice of the People television, and across all the social media platforms, we are VOP TV Live. Up next on the schedule of Voice of the People television is the Spotlight Show with Precious Agumanu. I am Fina Chuku.
And I am David Edwin. Good afternoon.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures